All right, so if you're watching this video, chances are you prefer consuming content through audio or video to reading. And if that's the case, this video should be a really good one because we'll be looking at an application that lets you transform any sort of text into human sounding audio through a mobile application that you can carry with you anywhere. And the best part is that you can use it for free. Now, the application I'm referring to here is called ElevenReader, and in this video, I'm going to show you different ways to use it. And let me tell you, while even playing around with this, I myself came to really appreciate this because I also prefer listening to podcasts, audiobooks, to, let's say, reading a blog or a physical book. Now, I still do both. I'm just saying it's my preference. And with an app like this, you just get the choice. So I'm really excited to bring you this video where I'll be showing you different use cases for this, along with a step-by-step walkthrough. And my hope is that by the end of the video, you'll have a new tool that you can use to make consuming information, learning, growing, not just easier, but also more enjoyable. One last thing before we get into the app, I want to point out that this video is actually sponsored by ElevenLabs, which is incredible because we natively covered this app back when it came out. And as you might know, ElevenLabs has the state-of-the-art text-to-voice technology out there. Their voices just do sound the best out of all the alternatives. And I'm pretty sure most people would agree with that statement. So honestly, I was super excited when they reached out to us, as they're an amazing company, and this ElevenReader app genuinely does something super unique, and you can freely try it and make your life better with the power of AI voices. So let's switch on over to my phone view because this thing is a mobile application, and that's the entire point. Because in a nutshell here, you can upload various formats like a website link, raw text, a file like a PDF, or you can even scan a document with your camera, and it very quickly turns that into a podcast-like recording, or just somebody reading it out loud for you. But before we look at those use cases, I just want to point out that this is available both in the iOS and the Android store, and you can simply download it for free under this name, ElevenReader. As you can see, I already have this downloaded on my device, and I logged in with my Google account on a free tier. Now, to address the fact that this is free, let's have a look at their FAQ here because I was skeptical too. But as you can see here, this app is completely free. There's not even a paid plan you could get if you wanted to. They just give you their voices and unlimited generation tokens if you want to use this. Now, maybe there's some rate limit. If there is, I haven't been able to hit it. But if you ask yourself how this is possible, well, let me just outline that they're actually doing very well, and they raised a lot of venture capital with which they're funding things like this. So it's sort of similar to Uber in the early days where they were losing money on every ride just so you got a good experience. Here you get to use this app completely for free, with the note that eventually they do want to launch a premium version and still maintain the free plan, but there you go. This entire experience here is completely free. And with that being said, let's look at the first use case here, which is actually my favorite one because I encounter this problem sometimes, and that is turning website links like news articles or blog posts into audio format. Now, as you can see here, I did it for an article already. We'll do this again together, but basically it just turns any article into audio so you can listen to it on your commute or listen to this while you walk around. For people who get easily distracted or bored, that might be a good way to actually concentrate on some material that is a bit more dense. Let's have a quick listen here.
To handwritten zip code. Recognition is, I believe, of some historical significance because it is, to my knowledge, the earliest real-world application of a neural net.
And I think it's pretty easy to agree that that does sound incredibly good. And you have to consider these are all AI voices. If you want a different one, there's a lot of choices here, including some of these iconic voices that are by now in the public domain. So if you wanted to, you could listen with the voice of John Wayne.
Courage is being scared to death,
for example. So let me just pick that. It's going to regenerate the podcast, and I'm going to let this run in real time so you see how quickly. There you go. I didn't even finish the sentence and it's finished as John Wayne. So let's just continue in his voice.
Trained end to end with backpropagation, except for the tiny data set, 7,291 16 null.
Now that's pretty amazing if you're a fan of his and are familiar with his voice, but I'm gonna switch it back to George, our middle-aged British male, as that is my personal favorite voice here. Something about the British mannerism just gets me every time, puts me in a nice, calm and thoughtful mood.
Tomorrow.
Which is fitting here. So how do you create an audio file like this yourself? Well, let me tell you, this couldn't be any simpler. So let's just quickly do this together. I'm gonna go to Sam Altman's blog, and he likes to do these relatively brief write-ups. This one is on the state of AI and how they're progressing towards AGI. And instead of just reading it, I will copy this link, tab over to the ElevenReader app. I'll say plus, you might have guessed it, right here. You paste the link, click listen, and voila. Let's see how long this actually takes. No editing here, okay? So maybe a few more seconds and we should be ready to go. Yeah, there you go. The point is, like, this is real time. If you're doing this on the bus, or maybe you just get into the car, paste a link, and I have something to listen to for 8 minutes. If you do this with a lengthy paper, you could even fill a 1 hour long commute. But right there, George can read Sam Altman's blog to us.
Our mission is to ensure that AGI, artificial general intelligence, benefits all of humanity.
Wonderful. Now, one thing that I do want to add here is that this works in 32 languages in total, okay? So if you're not an English speaker, chances are this is going to be possible in your native language. So that's pretty neat for somebody who might not be native. So let's just say we're somewhere here in the middle of the text. And here's another thing I want to point out to you. And this is just something I use with my audiobooks and in here all the time. And that's ability to bookmark. So let's say I'm listening to this part and I really like this thought and I might want to jog my mind and refer back to it later. Well, I could just hit this bookmark button and voila, it's saved to my bookmarks, which when I return back to this note, I can check out under bookmarks over here. I could even share the clip with somebody if I wanted to. Okay, and one more thing that I really want to show you here is this GenFM feature, okay? Rather than explaining, I'll just do it because this turns the narration of the article or the PDF or whatever you upload into it into a podcast. You might know this format from applications like Notebook LM, but here it's right with your phone with more customizability than that even gives you. So I'll just say create an episode, and this takes a bit because it generates two different voices that then converse with each other and discuss the materials that are within the source that you provided. And there you go. That took about a minute. So you might want to prepare this before your commute, walk, or whatever. But let's have a listen together.
The pace of AI advancement is moving so fast that the cost of using these systems dropped
Voice
150 times in just 18 months. That's like going from a $150,000 Tesla to a $1,000 car in the blink of an eye.
That's such a striking comparison. And what's even more fascinating is how this cost reduction is happening about 5 times faster than Moore's law ever did.
There you go. So now this is two people talking about the content of the article rather than it being read to you word by word. And let me tell you, this is a particularly great choice if you're dealing with more dense material like academic paper, where maybe some of the concepts are a bit more foreign to you and you really have to concentrate. Consuming this as a conversation between two humans is just way simpler. I mean, that's why all of these science and health-based podcasts are so popular. It's just relatively easy to consume versus reading textbooks or scientific papers. All right, so 3 more quick things that I want to point out that are possible in here that you might not be aware of. First of all, it goes beyond links. So you can paste text, scan docs with your camera, but you can also import files. So for example, if I wanted to read the research that was published along with the DeepSeek R1 model that many people were blown away by, I could just go to the website. All I need to do is save this to files, put it on the desktop because why not? And then here I just import it. And as you might expect, in a few seconds, this will be ready to go. And you could do all the little tricks I showed you before, like turning it into podcasts or bookmarking certain parts in here. But there you go. That's pretty neat.
A model trained via large-scale reinforcement learning, RL, without supervised fine-tuning.
And one more thing I wanted to point out, and this is kind of a fun little feature to top it off. As you might know, ElevenLabs is really good at generating your own custom voices. As you might also know, here on the channel, we've used ElevenLabs product to do exactly this with my voice many times. Sometimes we want to fix something in post-production a few minutes before uploading. Well, that's why we have my voice in there. So if I go over here, I could actually tab over to my voices. And as you can see with Igor AI Advantage, I could save this. And now my very own voice will be reading this. Obviously, you can train this with any voice, like, I don't know, for example, your boss's voice. And then you could be reading meeting notes in his voice. You could be using it for content creation. So many creative uses here, but I think you get the point. Here's my voice reading the DeepSeek R1 paper for you.
Through RL, DeepSeek R10 naturally emerges with numerous powerful and intriguing reasoning behaviors.
Oh, and one final note is that beyond uploading your own stuff and it voicing it and turning it into podcast, they have a whole library of various books, documents, and more that you can check out inside of the app, also for free. Now, in this video, I really wanted to spotlight the fact that you can use it to voice custom anything, as I think that's really the standalone feature here, but you have a library of content included in here too. And there you go, pretty amazing. Wouldn't you agree? It's completely free. Adds a new tool to your belt that you can use at any time at your fingertips. All you need to do is download the ElevenReader app from the iOS or Android store today. So what are you waiting for? Go and give it a shot yourself. Just click the link in the description below to download the app onto your phone today, and you can have your favorite ebook or webpage narrated in just 2 clicks. At this point, I can only speak for myself, but once you try this and start using it, you won't want to go back. As mentioned, I personally just prefer listening, and this makes listening to anything possible with the power of AI. So thank you, ElevenLabs, for sponsoring this video. It honestly was a pleasure to make, and we featured the app on the channel anyway, and that pretty much concludes it for today. I hope this AI tool makes your life just a little better, and I will see you very soon.